Regularly coming to you on Tuesday, close to noon Pacific time, on a beautiful sunny day today in between the rain. And I want to talk to you today about the inspiration of retreat space. And even let's look at the name retreat. It's unlike what we do in our everyday life. Typically, at least for me and many of the clients I serve, our everyday life is go, 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 hustle, hustle, drive, keep on trying, keep on pushing, hit that roadmap, hit all those calendar appointments in your to do list. Even just the word retreat, if you think about it from a military term, feels like not great. It's me going inward, it's pulling back. That doesn't seem great. I'm reminded by a conversation I had with my daughter about vulnerability. Um, I am a fan of Brene Brown and her work on how vulnerability is something that gives you the ability to connect with other people, it builds trust. But my daughter was like, vulnerability, and she's a fifth grader about to go into middle school, and kids mature a lot more these days, a lot faster these days. She's like, vulnerability, that really means that I'm exposing my sensitive underbelly, and other people are going to attack me. So you can think a lot about words and the reframing and thinking of them. And retreat could mean pulling back, going away, but it could also has the word treat in it. What if you were treating yourself again? And for me, I think there's a magic and beauty in finding retreat space. And I'm going to share four things that add to the magicalness of it and ways that you can find retreat space even if you don't have a huge period of time. And a lot of it for me is related back to my book, Make Space to Lead, because it is about making space. I think retreats are about finding time and space to do something differently. And the first part is like, hey, when might you need a retreat? When might you need something different? And the first part is, how do you recognize that there are patterns keeping you stuck? I was reading a really great article this morning about how do you know that you're burned out? This particular founder and also one of my past clients, for them, it was very, very physical. This article that I was reading, the founder had a heart attack. So that was a very clear, hey, burnout, this pattern is not working anymore. One of my clients had persistent, I think it's called tinnitus, um, just so much stress and anxiety causing something physical as a warning sign, less of a big check engine light than a heart attack, but still, patterns can help you. Patterns like having a great work ethic and hustling and having drive, these are patterns that I've had throughout my life. They really help you. They really help you get conventional success, do well at work, succeed professionally, and they're wonderful until they're not. There comes a time when you feel stuck, whether it's at work with burnout and not enough boundaries, whether it's in a conflict type of relationship with a particular person, a partner, a parent, a child, a coworker. There are things that used to work really well, and then there comes a part when you get into stuckness. So, how do you know when you're stuck? I mean, I think you kind of know when you're stuck. You feel exhausted, you feel tired, you feel burned out, you feel weary. There's a sense of deja vu. Here's this thing happening all over again. And what some of the inspiration of retreat spaces, it's a way to shake up and break up the pattern. I talk about it in my book a lot that when you're kind of go, go, go working all the time, just having the space of a vacation, however small it is a little bit of an exhalation that's just like, hey, I can live a different way. I can be a different way. And I can see then when I'm doing something different what the pattern was. And that might be what was getting me stuck. The second inspiration of retreat space is it lets you zoom to different levels. In our day to day, we are working on what's so urgent. This is my to do list. These are the people I'm committed to meeting with. These are the deadlines that I have to do. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. These are the structures of our day. These are These are the things that we're intimately focused on, and that makes sense. Retreat space lets you zoom out to 10,000 feet. It lets you zoom out and get a different type of perspective. The same perspective that you get when going on a hike and starting at the bottom of the mountain and focusing on the boulders. But like when you get all the way to the top and to the top and you see the view and the perspective, you feel something different. And that's the inspiration of retreat space, being able to zoom out, recognize the pattern that kept you stuck, and then being able to stop and zoom out. And you don't have to do that by saying, I'm out. I'm out for 2 weeks. I'm going to do that. Or even I'm out for a day of doing that. You can find it within your weekday or your days by finding little focus blocks, finding 2 or 3 hour periods of time where you have nothing scheduled. It's simply time to think. It can be an hour at the start of your week, an hour at the end of your week, where you simply sit for a minute, zoom out, and ask yourself, well, if I free myself from the tyranny of 30-minute chunks, what's most important about this week? One of the books I love, Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way, talks about, which is not just for creatives and designers, it's for anyone who wants more creativity and inspiration in your life. And that's kind of what retreat does. She talks about artist dates, which are the same thing as these focus blocks, being able to come in, take a 2 or 3 hour chunk of time to like make a creative date with yourself. Could be drawing, it could be painting, could be watching Bridgerton. Just whatever feels right and inspirational and lets you zoom out and see a different perspective, because hell, life is not as bad as it was for females back in the Bridgerton times. The third thing, the inspiration of retreat space, is shifting the pacing, again, shifting the patterns, helps you release stress and pressure. Physically going somewhere different does that. Even another room of the house or outside or to a coffee shop, just shifting the pacing of the environment around you and the pressure of having to get things done in a certain period of time, just shifting that and moving temporarily relieves stress and pressure in some way. And when that's lifted, that might let you see a different perspective, a different way out. And then finally, I love to focus on the learning, the what can I learn from this? And if you take a period of time to retreat, to think about things differently, it could simply be you in your living room or in a coffee shop with an inspirational podcast or a book where you might learn something different. You might be able to go deeper into your journal and develop a different relationship with yourself. Or there's also a magic in having a retreat space with other people, a lunch with your best friend, a phone conversation with someone you haven't talked to for a long time. I recently caught up with my high school best friend. It'd probably been about a year and a half since we chatted, and it felt effortless. It was a retreat back to us being as giddy and carefree as we were in high school, and it gave me a different sense of inspiration. I call that a retreat space as well. And then finally, I think there's some magic in learning from people on the same journey as you. I was recently chatting with a founder, a female founder, and for her retreat space is having these regular biweekly meetings with a group of other female founders. It's a refuge, a retreat from the day-to-day grind of being CEO and working with these other like-minded women in the same scenario. And the last part about learning from different sources is that sometimes it does help to physically go on retreat. And one of the things, if I shift into the marketing part of it, is that I have a retreat coming up. It's the Heroine's Journey. It's for a small, intimate group of women and non-binary leaders up in Mendocino, California over Memorial Day. And it is a retreat space, a physical and time-bound mental retreat space of 4 days and 3 nights. And honestly, this is one of my favorite things of the year, to offer and hold retreat space. And I go on other retreats as well. But if this is something that you feel like you're needing, registration for this closes on Friday. Come join us. But ultimately, forget about the marketing-y part. It's about finding inspiration in retreat space whenever you need it the most. And a lot of us need it in this transition period back out and from COVID. And why retreat space is helpful is that it can help you recognize patterns keeping you stuck. It helps give you perspective to zoom in and then zoom out because sometimes we don't naturally perform these particular actions. We can be stuck in the zoom in. And it helps you shift space, shift pacing, which helps release stress and pressure. And it's a different place where you can learn from different sources, whether it's from a book, whether it's from going deeper with yourself journaling, and whether it's from people all around you. So, my hope for you is you find some retreat space in the coming days, weeks, and months. And if you're interested, I'd love for any women or non binary individuals to join us on a retreat in Mendocino called the Heroine's Journey. That's it for now. I'm wishing you space.